made especially for growing children, present Jack Barry's Juvenile Jury. Now, here's our host for another spontaneous session of Juvenile Jury, Jack Barry.
Thank you very much. Hello again, everyone, and a very cordial welcome to Juvenile Jury, the program where 5 average youngsters try to solve the problems you folks all across the nation have been nice enough to send to them. I'd like you to meet the kids this week. First of all, there's Lynn Rose Cohen. How old are you, Lynn Rose?
I'm 7.5.
Here is Richard Goodall. How old are you, Richard?
I was 10 years old yesterday.
Well, happy birthday to you. Down here in the bottom row, Alberta Fitterer. How old are you, Alberta?
Playing safe.
You're what?
Playing safe.
I see. In the center, Joe Ward. How old are you, Joe?
6.
And last but not least, the newcomer to Juvenile Jury, Michelle Fogel. How old are you, Michelle?
Playing 4.
Thank you. Nice to have you all on Juvenile Jury. Michelle, you're only on the program the first night and you're starting to ad-lib already, eh? Well, once again on Juvenile Jury, we're going to try to solve the problems you folks at home have sent to us. Each problem which we use on the program will get for the person who has sent it to us a lovely gift of this handsome Underwood Champion portable typewriter. It's the luxury portable with all big machine features. We're sending an Underwood portable to Mrs. L.H. of Medford, Oregon, for this letter. She writes and says, "My 5-year-old son wants to be a veterinarian when he grows up, and every time he sees a dog or a cat, he wraps his handkerchief around their paws and tails. He says he has to learn how to put bandages on animals because he wants to take care of them when he gets older. What should I do about this?" Michelle?
The mother should throw the dog out and dig a hole in the snow and throw him in, and then close the hole with the cover and stamp on it, and the dog, and they'll have no more doggy.
What problem are you working on, Michelle?
My mother told me to say that.
Your mother? Your mother told you to say that?
My father too.
How could your mother or father tell you? You didn't know what this problem was going to be. How could they tell you to say it?
Because they heard me
They heard you? When?
a long time ago. That was yesterday.
Well, it's very confusing to me. I don't know how you could know the answers before we even give you the problem.
I know that.
Well, maybe we have to straighten this out with your mother and father. Maybe your father is Dunnage, or the mind reader.
I know. Where's my brother was downstairs now? He's upstairs. I think this is a magic show.
Maybe it is. Michelle, we're going to have to straighten this out and find out just how you got all this information. Meantime, let's see what Joe
Maybe
was.
he flew.
Who?
Oh, my daddy.
He
He
flew?
doesn't have wings anyway.
Your father doesn't?
No.
He doesn't have wings?
He's not an invisible man. Peter Pan.
If your father knew anything about these problems before I did tonight, then your father is not invisible. He's Superman.
You know what he is?
What?
He's a sales because he sells typewriters. I mean, sewing machines, not typewriters.
Well, you get yourself straightened out, Michelle. We'll be back to you in just a moment. Joe, what about this boy who wants to be a veterinarian, take care of animals, dogs and cats when he gets older?
Well, you rock that mom. Do they have a dog?
Does who have a dog?
Does that boy have a dog in his house? Like a...
Maybe I ought to go
Like
back to
trained
Michelle.
dog.
I don't know. Yeah, he doesn't have one now, but that's when he sees dogs and cats in the street, he runs around with their handkerchiefs around their paws, making believe he's taking care of them.
Are they allowed to have dogs in that neighborhood?
Yes.
Why doesn't he get one if he has enough money?
Get a dog. Okay. Lynn Rose Cohen.
Well, I think his mother should explain to him that he shouldn't practice now trying to put handkerchiefs and things around the dogs because it may hurt the dog. He's not really helping him now. I think that his mother should explain to him that it's not right really, and the other people don't like it either. For him to put handkerchiefs around the dog, and I think he'll stop.
Okay. Richard Goodall.
Well, as Monroe said, wrapping handkerchiefs around dogs and cats isn't exactly good for them. I don't mean that he's not trying to do well. I think he's a little bit too young to really know what he's doing. But if the mother just took him and explained to him, well, it's not that I'm hollering at you, but the other people don't like for you to take your handkerchief and go wrapping it around other dogs and cats. So that I think they'll stop it.
Okay. Alberta?
Well, Jack, I think the mother should try to explain to the child not to wrap these handkerchiefs around his paws. When he gets older, I think he can start really working on it, and that will help, perhaps.
All right. I think that's very good, Alberta. I think that he should be told. More important, I think that any boy that loves dogs or cats as much as this boy does should be entitled to have one in his home. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's very important to point out right now that all the problems on juvenile jury that we present to the children, they are presented for the first time. They are completely spontaneous. I haven't the slightest idea in the world what Michelle means. She did not see this problem before we appeared here on the program tonight, and I thought it important that you know that everything on this program is completely spontaneous and unrehearsed. I'd like you to meet a young lady from Long Island City who has a problem she'd like you to solve. She's visiting the program in person. She is 3 years old, and her name is Deborah Cutsko. Deborah, come on out. Hiya, Deborah. How do you feel? Good. What's your problem?
My car stools.
Your what?
My car stools.
Your car stalls?
Yes.
Gee, they're issuing driver's licenses early this year, aren't they? You mean your daddy's car?
Yes.
Your daddy's car stalls?
Yes.
And what about it?
My daddy don't buy a new car.
Oh, you want your daddy to buy a new car?
Yes.
And he doesn't want to?
Yes.
I see. There's the problem, kid. She wants her daddy to buy a new car, and he doesn't want to. Any questions you'd like to ask? Joe, you got a question?
Mm-hmm.
Not a question. Who's got a question?
No.
Michelle, what's your question?
Well, Daddy should buy a new car.
That's quite a question.
Because a convertible is better.
You see, this girl is really Michelle's mother. You think she should get a convertible, Michelle, huh? Okay. Any questions, Lynn Rose?
Let's see her father to get a new car.
Why do you want your father to get a new car, Deborah?
Because it's don't cost stools.
Because it stalls. Any other questions? Why doesn't he want to get a new car, Deborah?
Because he likes the old car.
Why does he like the old car?
Because the old car is better than a new car.
Old car is better than the new car?
Yeah.
Madman Month better hear about this. Alberta?
Jack, what did she say just now? I want to know why doesn't the father want to get a new car?
He thinks the old car is better than the new car.
Oh, that's what I want to know.
That's all you wanted to know. Any other questions, kids? Michelle?
I think, what did she say?
She said that her father doesn't want to get a new car. He likes the old one better.
But she should tell her father to get the convertible, because that's even better. And it has no hood, but one without a hood.
Has no
the hood
hood?
Down.
What?
With the hood down.
With the hood down?
And when you press a button, it goes up.
Well, that's quite true. Tell me, what kind of a car does your daddy have now, Deborah?
An old one.
What kind of an old one?
A jalopy.
That's a new model. I hadn't heard about that. Does he have a 1943 jalopy?
Yes.
Well, the 1944 jalopies were much better. I remember that year. What do you want to be when you get older, Deborah?
A daddy.
Maybe you better trade seats with Michelle. You want to be a daddy? I'll lay 1,000 to 1 you don't make it. Any other questions, kids? Richard.
Well, can your father afford this?
Can your father afford the new car? No. No? How much do you think a new car costs?
8 cents.
How much?
8 cents.
80 cents? Well, of course, that's when the prices are high nowadays. 80 cents, huh? That's for the jalopy. 80 cents. I wouldn't do it if I were he either. It's too expensive, I think. Let's take a run down here, kids. Do you think your daddy should buy a new car or not? Lynn Rose, go ahead.
Well, I think that father knows best. I think that if he wants to buy a new car, he can. If he doesn't want it, I think he should have his car fixed so it shouldn't store anymore. I think he can use that car.
Thank you.
If he wants to buy a new car.
All right. Richard Goodall.
Well, I agree with Rose. Since he can't afford a new car, he isn't going to get one. But I do think that he should go in somewhere and have this car fixed, because not only from that point of view, but something's liable to happen, too.
Okay. Alberta?
Jack, I think that the mother should try to explain to the little girl not to ask her father so much, because someday he might surprise her. And I think he ought to go in some place that'll really fix the car up, and then he can use the car again.
Okay. Joe?
Well, I think you should be lucky that you got one, because if you get two, don't be so greedy.
Wait, Joe. Wait. Don't get excited. She doesn't want two. She only wants one. She wants him to sell the jalopy and get a new one. A new jalopy.
No one would want to buy a jalopy.
A what? No one would want to buy a what, Joe?
A jalopy is too old.
Wait a while, Joe. A what? What's it?
You call it jalopy.
No, Joe, you called it jalopy. I call it jalopy.
Jalopy.
Yeah. What'd you say?
How do you say that?
Jalopy.
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 That's right. Okay. Now, do you think that she should get a new car or not? Her daddy should get a new car.
Well, like I said, no one would want to buy a jalopy. It's too old, you know, it's not brand new, it doesn't look nice. If it was a new car, that would be different, like a Chevrolet.
You have just made Dinah Shore very happy. Michelle, what, threw that kiss to my wife, incidentally. Michelle, what do you think that she should do?
But the mama should tell the daddy.
To buy a convertible, I know.
To buy a Cadillac.
Deborah, the minute you get off this stage and go backstage to see your daddy, you tell him that Michelle on this program said he should buy a Cadillac, okay? But I do think, in all seriousness, you should leave it up to his judgment, since he has the money, and decide whether he can afford one this year or not. In the meantime, see if you can't get the old one fixed up. Thank you very much for being with us, Deborah. You've been a nice guest. Bye. May I take a moment? Goodbye, Deborah. I don't think she'll make it. May I take a moment to remind you that if you'd like to visit our program, or if you'd like to submit problems to us, remembering that if we use them, you get the handsome Underwood Champion portable typewriter, here's the address to which you write. Write to Juvenile Jury, box number 329, Radio City Station, New York 20, New York. Juvenile Jury, box number 329, Radio City Station, New York 20, New York. We're sending Mrs. F.W. of Torrington, Wyoming, an Underwood Portable Kids for this problem. It's an interesting one. She says, do you think it is easier to be the mother or the father in the family? Which one has the harder job, the mother or the father? Michelle? Michelle, let me ask you a question. Did you ever hear this problem before I told it to you right now?
Yes. I didn't hear what you just said.
What'd you say, Michelle?
I didn't hear what you just said.
Boy, I'm glad she said that. She didn't hear what I said, but she heard the problem before anyway.
I didn't hear the problem.
Oh, didn't you hear it?
No.
You've never heard it before?
No, you saw so loud you were shouting. That's why I couldn't hear you.
I think I'll pack up and go home. Michelle, the problem is, do you think it's easier or harder to be the mother or the father? Which is the hardest, to be the mother or the father in the family?
I think, the mother.
Why?
Because they're even better. When my daddy goes to work, I don't tell him that I don't need to, he tells me that I should stay home and I listen to him. And I stay with my mother.
Do you think it's harder to be a mother? All right. Richard Goodall?
Well, I'm gonna have to say this, but I really think that a woman's job is harder than a man's. There's an old saying that holds very true to this problem. Father's work's from dawn to sun, but mother's work is never done, which is quite true.
Thank you, Nick Kenny.
A mother can get through with the dishes, then she has to go do the housework. Then she gets through with the housework, she has to make supper. She gets through with supper, she has to wash the dishes. She has to wash the dishes again. Then she has to go clean the house again. It's just like a merry-go-round. But a man, he comes home from work, he sits down in the easy chair, starts smoking the pipe, and reads the paper, and that's
Richard, we could very well do without you around here. You could easily be replaced by Michelle's brother. What'd you say, Michelle?
That wasn't my brother who was here a long time yesterday. He was my husband, not my brother.
He was what?
My husband. I could marry him.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know that Michelle didn't get the problem for the program. Her husband did.
And every time I see my father, I see him going to the bathroom. He thinks he has to make, but no, he really does. I say, let me in, Daddy.
Well, naturally, that's where he goes. That's where we keep the problem. Well, kids, let's get on here now. Joe Ward. Joe, do you think it's harder to be the mother or the father in the family?
Really? Really? Really, both is hard. Really, it's confusing. The daddy has hard work, and mommy has hard work. I think both is really hard, and yes, both the same.
All right. I think we'll stop it at that, Joe. Both jobs are very, very difficult. A mother's job and a daddy's job. They were both very, very difficult. The mommy and daddy worked hard together. I'm sure they raised wonderful children like all of you here on Juvenile Jury. I'd like you to meet a young man this time who's here in the studios in person. He's from Westbury, Long Island. He has a problem for you. He's 5 years old, and his name is Donnie Mackler. Donnie, come on out. Hi, Donnie.
Hi.
How you feeling?
Fine.
What's your problem, Donnie?
I have loose tooth, and my daddy doesn't want to pull it out.
You have a loose tooth, and your daddy doesn't want to pull it out? All right. How about that, kids? Any questions you want to ask? Richard?
well, is it a first tooth or a second tooth?
The first tooth.
Or what they call a baby tooth, huh?
I think so.
Yes, it's a baby tooth. Joe?
Well, why don't you let it come out itself? I want my dad to pull it out.
Why?
Because I'll get money.
You'll get money? I'm going to yank every tooth in my head out. How much money do you think you're going to get, Donnie?
$1,000.
Not only that, but I'm going to do it right away. You want to ask a question, Michelle? What's your question?
What daddy should do, pull the tooth out because, not pull the tooth out, I mean take him to the dentist.
The dentist?
The dentist will pull it out.
I think so. Alberta?
Jack, Michelle took the words right out of my mouth.
You're lucky she didn't take the teeth.
Jack, why does the little boy want the father? Why not the dentist?
Yeah, how about that?
I want the dentist to do it better.
You want the dentist or your father to do it?
My father.
Why don't you want the dentist to do it?
Well, my father's a dentist.
It was like pulling teeth to get that out of him. What'd you say, Michelle?
One time I had a tooth and I went to the dentist with my brother.
You sure it
my
wasn't?
husband, I mean.
I had a feeling you'd change that. It wouldn't be your brother. What do you want to be when you get older, Donnie?
Doctor and doctor.
A doctor and a doctor. Well, that'll be two of you, Donnie and Donnie. Why do you want to be a doctor?
Because one of my friends is a nurse, and that's why I want to be a doctor.
Long-range planning, I'd call it. What about it? How about a run down here, kids? What do you think? Should he let his daddy have his daddy pull out his tooth or not? Lynn Rose.
Well, I think that he should let his tooth come out himself. I think that when his tooth is ready to come out, it will come out by itself, and I think it's going to be much more comfortable, because sometimes when you pull it out, it starts hurting you a little, then it starts bleeding. And I
Well,
think
what a soap opera this is going to turn into.
I think you'll get the money just the same, and I think it's going to be even more easy to, sometimes it now starts bleeding even more when you pull it out. I think you should let it come out natural when it wants to come out by itself.
Have you had some experience in this line? There's a couple of spaces open in your mouth right now, aren't there, Lynn Rose?
I suppose so.
Yes, huh? Sure. Richard.
Well, I agree with Lynn Rose. You should leave the tooth come out by itself unless it starts paining you. If it starts giving you pain, then I think your father, who is a dentist, should pull it out. But if it doesn't start hurting you, leave it fall out by its own accord.
Okay. Alberta?
Oh, Jack, why doesn't your father want to pull out a little bit? Because the second tooth is not ready to come out.
Yeah, the second tooth isn't ready. If it isn't ready, what's it going to do?
Well, Jack, I think you should really wait till the tooth comes out, because it will be better, because the tooth will come out itself, and the teeth will come just as nice. So I think you ought to wait.
All right. Joe Ward?
Like I said before.
What do you mean like you said before? What did you say before?
Did you hear me?
I think you should buy a Cadillac myself, Donnie. Because when you have a Cadillac, you know, oh, that's a different problem, I forgot. Joe, you say let it come out by itself, huh?
Yes, and since then, everyone's been agreeing with me. First Lynn Rose, then Richard. Nice and good.
Well, that's because you are of a highly superior mental ability. Don't you agree? Michelle, what do you advise this fellow to do?
Let it come out by itself, and another one will grow.
Do you have any teeth out, Michelle?
No.
No? None of your teeth have fallen out yet? How come?
Because, they like to stay in the pipe.
They like to stay in? What about your husband? What does he say about this?
He has a tooth too, and
Your husband has one tooth?
And he doesn't care. He lets it come out by itself.
Well,
He should do that, too.
Yes, he should. Well, the kids seem to think you should let the tooth come out naturally, and it'll not give you as much trouble. And since your daddy is a dentist, I'm sure he knows exactly when it should come out. Thank you very much for being with us, Donnie, and good luck with your tooth. Bye. Well, that's about it for this week's session of Juvenile Jury. We hope you'll come back next week at the same time, and we'll be here, of course. Until then, goodbye and good luck from Lynn Rose Cohan.
Bye-bye.
Richard Goodall.
Bye.
Alberta Fitterer.
Bye,
Joe Ward.
everybody. Bye.
And the pride of this evening, Michelle Fogel.
Bye.
Goodbye to you. We'll be seeing you next week. And this is Jack Barry saying, out of the mouths of babes, oft times come gems. Goodbye, everyone.
Look in again next week at this same time when the makers of Geritol for that tired feeling and Geritol Junior, the wonderful new blood-building tonic made especially for growing children, again present Jack Barry's Juvenile Jury.